The government of Guyana and Suriname to collab in multiple projects. Woman charged with causing the death of a police officer walks free. Driver flees after colliding with bus on Rupert Craig Highway. In the region, Cuba's new social media law sparks concerns and internationally. Toyota to cut September output by 40% due to microchip shortage. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Update. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali and Suriname's Head of State, His Excellency Chandrika Prasad Santokhi, during a joint press conference at the Arthur Chung Conference Center on Thursday, agreed on their approach for interested companies to design, build, finance, own, and operate the Quarantine Bridge. In July, 8 companies were shortlisted to build the bridge linking Guyana to Suriname. The proposals are to be submitted on September 16, 2021, following which a joint evaluation committee will assess the bids. After choosing the successful bidder, the company will have 1 year to conduct a feasibility study on the bridge. In October 2020, Ghana's Minister of Public Works, Bishop Wan Edgehill, and Suriname's Public Works Minister, Dr. Riyad Nur Mohammed, visited the proposed site for the bridge. During an engagement at the Pegasus on Thursday, President Ali shared that he and President Santokhi have been able to settle transportation impediments that affect private sector-owned businesses that ply their trades in Guyana and Suriname. President Santokhi said the bridge would mark a new era for both countries in several areas. Also on Thursday, Ghana's Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, and Suriname's Minister of Agriculture, Animal, Husbandry and Fisheries, Parmenan Suridin, signed the protocol concerning the trade in fresh agricultural products. The agreement focuses on the local and organic production of fresh produce by producing guidelines concerning conditions under which they will be produced, stored in packed houses, and eventually packaged and transported to each country. The protocol will see the two nations assisting each other to access new markets as they seek to trade agricultural products. Guyana would benefit from Suriname's access to the European market, while Suriname would benefit from Guyana's access to the North American market. Meanwhile, the Ministries of Health are expected to strengthen strategic collaboration, provide effective capacity building for healthcare personnel, and specialty treatment for patients. The ministries will also develop joint programs, especially in professional healthcare and public health services, disease control, diagnostic imaging, laboratory services, pharmaceutical services, and research. The parties also agreed that in the era of the COVID-19 pandemic, they will collaborate their efforts with respective cross-border diagnostics in COVID-19, contact tracing, and developing a risk communication strategy, COVID-19 awareness, COVID-19 vaccination awareness. The parties will also cooperate and share experiences in the COVID-19 vaccination campaign. These two cooperation agreements form part of the efforts of the governments of Guyana and Suriname to improve the lives of their citizens. An accident on the east coast of Demerara has left a woman seriously injured and the driver allegedly responsible for the incident missing after he fled the scene. Esther Sobers has more.
Police are investigating an accident on Thursday at the Rupert Craig Highway that has left one person hospitalized. According to police investigations, the accident occurred at around 4:45 a.m. between Conversation Tree and Bel Air Access Road. Reports are that minibus PDT 6571, driven by 62-year-old Lalman Rajkumar of Labuan Intention, East Coast Demerara, was traveling west on the Rupert Craig Highway when the driver alleged he fell on an impact to the back of the minibus, forcing it to spin multiple times. He further alleges that the collision, the driver of the motor car PLL 724 that hit his vehicle exited the car and ran off in an eastern direction on the Rupert Craig Highway. An occupant of the minibus, 48-year-old Camila Chinapin, who was seated in the front seat, was thrown through the front window due to the collision and received several injuries about her body. The injured woman was taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital, where she was admitted as a patient. The car was then taken to Kitty Police Station and lodged. The owner has been identified. However, it is not yet confirmed if he was the driver at the time of the accident. Investigations continues. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. 47-year-old Brian Luke of Albion High Reef, Quarantine Berbice was remanded to prison yesterday for rape when he appeared at the Reliance Magistrates Court. the facts revealed that Luke was arrested on August 16th, charged with the offense of rape under Section 33 of the Sexual Offense Act, Chapter 803. The accused appeared before Magistrate R. Singh, where the charge was read to him. He was not required to plea and bail was denied. The case has been adjourned to September 14th at the Albion Magistrates Court. Don't go away after the break. Woman charged with causing the death of a police officer walks free, and 2 persons charged in connection to cocaine bust at Ogle Airport released.
At 4 p.m., the doors for Flavors Hotel, Restaurant and Bar will be opening. We are just opening our doors for the public. Being a new restaurant, a new establishment, we want to get kitchens in place, the bar in place, the employees, the staff, the service, so that by the 28th, the grand opening, all systems are in place. There are no falters. Our bar is far beyond anywhere else. We've got lots of specialty drinks that I'm sure Guyana is going to appreciate. Our food is unsurpassed. We have a specialty menu with a certain type of steak, certain type of fish. It's unsurpassed. We bring professionalism to Guyana. You get the best entertainment 7 days a week. We have entertainment. I'm a stickler for jazz, Sunday jazz. I'm pushing jazz. I've got a couple of jazz bands that will be here every Sunday at 6. So please come by. Very creative person, creative in the kitchen. I'm actually a contractor that builds restaurants and bars. So I've kind of perfected the art in Atlanta and New York. And I decided to bring a bit of America to Guyana.
#1 hangout spot, Flavors Hotel Restaurant Bar.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Go to school so that someday I can do something to make a difference.
I'm the first in my family to attend the university, and I won't be the last.
I want my daughter to be able to hold her head up high in this world as a proud, educated woman.
Education has changed my life by giving me the opportunity to make it better.
Welcome back. 2 people arrested in a cocaine bust at the Eugene F. Correa International Airport on August 16, 2021 have been released. 12 packets of milk, law enforcement officers concluded contained cocaine after tests were conducted, but further tests by the Guyana Forensic Science Laboratory on the contents of the 12 packets labeled Fernleaf milk, suspected by the police to have contained a mixture of cocaine, revealed no trace of the narcotics. According to a statement released by the Guyana Police Force on Thursday, August 19, 2021, the packets of milk were seized from a 34-year-old female outgoing passenger after she was supposedly seen acting suspiciously by officers at the airport. The woman and the male who had been arrested have since been released from police custody. A woman charged with causing the death of a police officer in 2019 walks free. Esther Sobers has the specifics on how that was accomplished.
Almost a year after being charged for dangerous driving in an accident that claimed the life of police officer Carl Roach back in 2019, Candace Clark was able to avert jail after a court agreement to compensate the family. Clark, who was a corporate secretary attached to the National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, had previously denied the charge on November 25, 2019 at Breakdown Public Road on Calmer's Place, Georgetown. She dangerously drove motor car PMM 2528, resulting in the death of Roach. However, on Tuesday, Clark appeared before Senior Magistrate Leron Daly, who discontinued the charge. When the matter was called at the Georgetown Magistrates Court, the mother of the deceased accepts to be compensated, therefore bringing the matter to an end. Clark, who was represented by attorney Dexter Todd, who had previously made a successful bail application. According to police prosecution Neville Jeffords, Clark was proceeding in the northern side of Breakdown Public Road. Whilst approaching Calmer's Place, she turned south without stopping, thereby colliding with motorcycle CH9436. As a result, the motorcyclist, identified as Roach, was flung 150 feet from the point of impact, hitting a light pole on the southern side of the road and sustained injuries about his body. Roach was pronounced dead at the scene. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. A 25-year-old Linden man is currently in police custody, nursing a gunshot wound sustained during a robbery on Thursday afternoon. Around 4:30 p.m. yesterday, the suspect, identified as Akeem Martin of Half Mile Wismar, Linden, was shot and injured on his right foot during an armed confrontation with police ranks at South Road, Georgetown. According to a police report, the two armed police ranks were on a motorcycle patrol along Kroll Street when they were drawn to the shouts of "thief" from a woman who was being attacked by a man. He was attempting to take away her mobile phone. Upon being challenged by the police, the assailant attempted to escape. He was pursued by the ranks, who caught up with him along South Road. The suspect pulled out a knife and attacked one of the ranks, who shot him in the foot. Martin has been admitted to the Georgetown Public Hospital complex, where he is under police guard. Don't go away after the break. Haiti hospital struggles to treat earthquake survivors, and Cuba's new social media law sparks concerns. But before that, here's the bridge retraction schedule.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome to Kissoon's Furniture. Find everything you need for your home and more under one roof in our newly decorated showroom. Our locally crafted furniture has been perfected over the last 60 years. From our hands to your home, we also bring to you our newly introduced lines of imported furniture and sleep center, where you can find a wide range of beds and mattresses. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 60 years.
For decades, milk has remained the same. Until now. Introducing the Great Dairy Full Cream Milk from Alabama Trading. Enriched with vitamins A to D and calcium to promote healthy teeth, strong bones, and vitality. Great Dairy Milk is delicious and fortified to encourage healthy cell growth within the body. No wonder it's the #1 brand of milk produced in Ireland. Now available nationwide in 400-gram packages at leading supermarkets and wholesale vendors. Distributed by Alabama Trading.
Survival Shopping Complex brings to you its delivery service, Shop through WhatsApp. This process is simple. All you need to do is call or message your grocery list to 613-9683 and we will select your items for you and have them delivered directly to you, even out of town. This is convenient because we can stay on the phone with you as we select your favorite brands. We're happy to do your shopping for you. Contact us on WhatsApp today and shop price smart at Survival Shopping Complex.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. Hospitals in southwest Haiti are experiencing a chronic lack of equipment and staff in the disaster area left by Saturday's earthquake, Al Jazeera's John Holman reports. Warning, viewers might find some of the following images disturbing.
We came across San Huzma in the Immaculate Conception Hospital in Les Cayes. His toes and skull were fractured. He's one of more than 10,000 people who were injured in Saturday's earthquake in Haiti.
I ran out to try and open the gate, but a cement block fell off the roof of the neighbor's house and onto my head and foot.
All week, staff at local hospitals have been struggling with that huge influx, even as many deal with their own life-changing problems.
My house has collapsed. We are sleeping in the street. On Saturday when I got here, I saw how many people were in need, and so I decided to work, and I've been here every day.
Many of the patients are staying outside for fear the hospitals themselves could collapse in the aftershocks. Some have cracks already, but the doctors and nurses have managed to keep order.
In this hospital, the Immaculate Conception, what they're telling us is that they're short on staff, medicine and equipment, but they're just about coping with the flow of people coming in.
But the chronic lack of medical equipment is serious.
The thing that we really need is things that are about orthopedic stuff. Like I said, like this one when you see here, this kind of stuff that we need.
All the doctors say the same. They desperately need more materials to treat fractures and broken bones. Without them, the hospitals are little more than waiting rooms for the seriously ill before they can be airlifted to Port-au-Prince. But there are hold-ups in getting supplies in, says Timothy Ward, a US doctor who's come to help.
We have a lot of different facilities. There are different organizations that are trying to bring in the supplies, but they are having a hard time getting them on site. So there's a little bit of political stuff as far as like getting them through customs and everything, and which I understand they don't just want things flooding in without checking.
There's also problems in getting gear and personnel to the disaster zone even once it's in the country. That's because a stretch of the only road from the capital to Les Cayes is being fought over by gangs.
From Port-au-Prince to here is kind of 8-hour trip. The UN is also taking part of that. They are seeing how they can send convoys. But that the first day, since Saturday to today, it's been a huge problem. How to coordinate the convoys.
The earthquake was almost a week ago, but the need to deal with its consequences remains. John Holman, Al Jazeera, Les Cayes.
Also in the region, Cuba's government has introduced tighter controls on the use of social media, banning what it calls false news and anything it says could, quote-unquote, damage the country's prestige. Al Jazeera's Teresa Bo reports.
These were the largest protests in Cuba in decades. Thousands took to the streets last month to demand food, medicines, and freedom. Young people using the internet managed to organize protests nationwide. But now the government is doing everything possible to prevent them from happening again. A new decree announced this week to control social media will put people like Junior Garcia at risk.
These new laws come to reinforce the prohibitions that already exist and legalize things that were being done outside the legal framework, such as the cuts of the internet service. It is a threat to freedoms and citizens' rights.
What is known as Decree 35 bans the spread of false news or messages and content considered offensive. It also says that those who have attempted to subvert the constitutional order will be considered cyber terrorists. The government says the new decree is an attempt to protect the population and fight the spread of fake news.
En la propia política de desarrollo de Internet,
in Cuba, the internet is defended as a space for debate, exchange, reflection, expression, complaints, and proposals from the population. This model will demand an adequate, respectful, ethical, and truthful use of these communication channels.
2 years ago, Cuba introduced the use of mobile internet. At times of economic difficulties that have been exacerbated by the pandemic and US sanctions, it's become a direct threat to the government. Videos like this are an example.
Our health system has collapsed. Our patients need help. We need help. We don't want our patients to die.
Even though Cuba has managed to produce at least 2 successful vaccines against COVID-19, on Tuesday, a group of Cuban doctors used the internet to denounce the health crisis that exists in the country. From now on, the spread of videos like this one could be considered an attack against Fidel Castro's revolution.
Once again, Cuba is seeking absolute control of a monopoly on internet access and telecommunications, and is also formalizing digital repression. It is seeking to limit the space where people can access information freely.
Cuba is in the middle of a massive economic crisis, and discontent is on the rise. While the government rushes to carry out reforms, it is also desperately trying to control dissent. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera.
And internationally, the world's largest car maker, Toyota, is cutting its worldwide production by 40% next month. The coronavirus surge in Asia has created a shortage of microchips, Al Jazeera's Laura Borden-Manley reports.
If you're heading to a dealership to buy a car, you may be in for a shock. Not only are salespeople increasing costs above advertised prices, but many of their parking lots have been left nearly empty. That's after a global chip shortage led to a fall in production, and that's due to the pandemic. Social distancing measures and shutdowns have affected factory output and slowed supply chains. With each car using about 3,000 chips, it's not possible to drive without them.
The connection between COVID-19 and the semiconductor shortage is that within the foundries, the production lines, if there are infections, clusters, or large-scale infections in areas and countries where there are not enough access to vaccines or vaccination rate itself is very low, to contain the pandemic first and then to resume the production, it's causing delays.
In the first few months of the pandemic, automakers estimated that people would buy fewer cars, so they reduced their orders for microchips. But instead, sales increased, and by the time they realized, chip manufacturers had shifted production to fill orders for use in other products.
Car manufacturers are pushing on their governments, whether it be Korea or Germany or the US, to say, hey, can you help us? Can you push us along? You cannot push this along because the ceramics come out of the Netherlands and the metal comes out of China. And that's where they can put the squeeze on people, increasing the cost, limiting the supply.
Toyota is the world's largest automaker by sales volume and was the last in the industry to be affected. Having stockpiled chips, it was ahead of the change, but wasn't able to replenish supplies after a resurgence in COVID-19 cases across Asia. With its supply chain cut, it's having to slash global production next month by 40%. And many other car manufacturers are also slowing down, including General Motors, Ford, Nissan, BMW and Renault. But it's not only cars that could be affected by the shortage. The semiconductors are used in a wide range of industries and products, including smartphones, planes, games consoles, and most modern appliances. As the chips fall short, analysts are recommending people put the brakes on buying a car until at least next year. Laura Borden-Manley, Al Jazeera.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 3-day weather forecast. And that is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Update. Tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, stay safe and take care.